Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, Humza Yousaf gets on his high horse, quite a lot actually, but he gets on his high horse about weightism, as they kind of say, because he doesn't like it. He himself, of course, is anti-white, but that's acceptable. It's acceptable in his mind to be anti-white. But anyone criticising him, oh, he plays that card, don't he? Straight away, bang, bang, bang. And he goes on about how great the SNP are, because we don't have that in there. It's only in the other parties that have that. It's only the people, the common people of Scotland. Of course, the SNP are much better and above that. Now, he's off to Aberdeen in a few days, and he's going to have to meet the SNP councillors from Aberdeen, because it's the done thing, local council and all that. And he's going to have to meet a woman called Karen van Sweden, which incidentally doesn't sound like a Scottish name to me. But, of course, the difficulty there is that this Miss Sweden, which is her name, it's not her title, I suspect. I haven't seen her face yet, but I suspect it's probably not going to be her title. The real Miss Sweden is someone far more attractive, I suspect. But anyway, this Miss Sweden will have a problem in meeting Humza Yousaf, because she's just been accused of calling someone from Southeast Asia, like Humza Yousaf, a new Scot, and this has been deemed as incredibly racist. Shall we have a look at the story? Oh dear, oh dear. I'm saying he gets on his high horse. I will just say before we go into it, it's a long way down from your high horse, isn't it, Humza? It's a long way down. Here goes.
Sarah's point about austerity. I realise as a new Scot, Councillor to Sarah, maybe doesn't know about the mitigations that we have to, that the SNP government have had to put in over the years that they have been in power. For example, the bedroom tax. Maybe you're not aware of the bedroom tax, but that started a long time ago. So please do not tell us that we are causing austerity. We are not causing austerity.
Please, now. But will both of you please sit down for a moment, please? Show me a little bit of respect.
I will move my motion then.
At the moment, please. And no, just for a moment, please.
I would like to be respected, and I do not appreciate those comments. I have taken the Life in the UK test to become a citizen, and I probably know more than you do.
Councillor to Sarah, Councillor Mrs. Stewart,
yes,
please,
Councillor Mrs. Stewart,
please
yes.
sit
No,
down.
I will not sit down because I am standing up, because I think that's inappropriate to say a new Scot.
Right.
Yes, let's have a judgment. Why don't we? For God's sake.
Please sit down.
No,
please
I will
sit down.
not. That is discrimination.
I have
A new
not.
Scot. How dare she? And I do feel strongly about that. Intervene. Someone intervene. For God's sake.
A 5-minute adjournment, please.
I think it might need more than a 5-minute adjournment, but SNP councillor accused of racism after labelling opponent a new Scot and causing a council rammy. Well, you saw the chairman there had to basically sort of stop the entire meeting. They were getting very het up and beat up about it, weren't they? You can't be going around and doing that. I'm sure, that she probably didn't mean anything. I'm sure it was just a term that she'd used. But even so, it is discriminatory. It is saying that you're different. And, you can't, in this day and age, you can't get away with that. Regardless of what you think, you can't. Especially not in public life. And so, yeah, the idea that she's done this, and the fact that it's an SNP councillor. Now, does she look at Humza Yousaf, her own party leader, and say, he's a new Scot too? It's weird, isn't it? Anyway, calls have been made for Humza Yousaf to suspend Aberdeen councillor Karen van Sweden, like I say, good Scottish name, from the party after she was accused of making this comment towards a Sri Lankan born Labour councillor Dina Tissera. Calls me, and why? Why would he do it? I mean, why would he do it? Why would she do it? Why would she open her mouth like that? And of course, Humza Yousaf, who himself has made massively racist comments like too many white people, anti-white, all this. So, he's got to suspend her because he's, otherwise, if he doesn't suspend her, he's saying it's okay, basically. But if he does suspend her for that, then he's got to suspend himself. Oh, isn't it good? What tangled webs we weave when first we practice to deceive. So, is making inappropriate racial comments correct? acceptable or is it not? Humza Yousaf, you decide. Because obviously, if you are going to sit there and sort of suspend this woman for making racist comments like that, you're going to have to stop yourself with your white tirade. Your obvious anti-white tirade must be equally bannable. So what's he going to do? Anyway, the row revolves around comments the Nationalist councillor made during a full council meeting about public spending and how best to help those in need and in the city. The debate was about whether money should be spent on a new citizens' assembly or crisis grants, which would include buying winter coats for children. Well, I think obviously winter coats for children would be a far better idea than another citizens' assembly, which would only be another layer of bureaucracy, of meeting rooms, of talking shops, and nothing would actually get done. Whereas winter coats for children, I know which I'd go with. Anyway, Miss Van Sweden attacked Miss Tessera during a heated exchange where she said, "I realise as a new Scot," well, you saw what she said, blah, blah, blah. And of course, they were up on their feet. They didn't like that. And they got all antsy about it, didn't they? But, you know, you can't get away with it. You can't do that. You know, it's just not done. There's Dina Tissera. They haven't got a close-up picture. I'll see if I can get one for the thumbnail of Sweden. You saw her in the video, but there's no sort of picture to see what she looks like. But I suspect she's not Miss Sweden, if you know what I mean. But she said, Miss Tessera said, the remarks were nothing less than racism. She was born in Sri Lanka but moved to Aberdeen to study and is a fully fledged British citizen. And there you go. And that's basically the problem that the SNP have got. They've got this deep-rooted anti-everything hatred about everyone and everything who isn't Scottish. And they look at her and they don't see a Scot. That's the truth. They don't see that as Scottish. You know, they don't see him, Humza, as Scottish, really. Not deep in their hearts. She is there. She's working after the community. I don't know. I think she's Labour, isn't she? Yeah, she's got to be. It says Scottish Labour there. Hey, don't miss a trick, me. But, you know, she's sitting there representing the thing. She doesn't need to go to work and go to these meetings and be abused like that. Nobody deserves it. Nobody wants it. And yet the SNP think it's perfectly acceptable. But then this councillor's only got to look at what Humza Yousaf says. Oh no, racism. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, I shall stop there and come up. But it just goes to show the irony of the SNP. You know, it's in their veins, isn't it? You scratch an SNP and the hatred is never far from it. Because, of course, you've got to think where they come from, you know. The National Socialists of the 30s. Yeah, that's where it all comes from, I'm afraid. They haven't changed much. Anyway, I'm going to come up and round off. They're all the same, this SNP lot, you know. They're all full of hate. They're all full of bigotry. They're all full of difference, aren't they? They always got to try and push the difference. Humza says about him being the victim of racism, and yet he's the one who's the biggest of them all. He's the biggest bigot there is. Anti-white, anti-British, anti-everything. Anti-everything. Certainly anti-Jewish. We know that because of his deep love for the Green Party and his standing by the vertical turd that is Maggie Chapman. That's just right up his street, isn't it? Anyway, no different, is it? Anti-Semitism, anti-white, and now the rest of the SNP are sort of anti-Sri Lankan, it seems. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do take care. Do be safe. And remember, whenever you meet an SNP, they are all sort of nasty, vindictive, bigoted people. So just be careful. Bye.